Frank!
Welcome to the new shop.
Oh my God, thanks for having us. This is massive. It's amazing.
A little bigger.
A little bit bigger. So how long have you been here?
I've been here about 2 months.
Wow. We've been hanging out at your old shop for over a year. And
Almost 2 years.
2 years, and that old shop was even an upgrade from the shop where we first met you when you were sharing space with Mike Hill.
Yep.
So why do you need a bigger shop? What's that progression like?
I need this shop not for everyday use, but for when I take those 1 or 2 big jobs a season. Like E3 is a big project season, or Comic-Con, stuff like that. So a couple times a year I have 10, 15 people working, and we were just on top of each other in the old shop. So now I can take the bigger jobs.
Awesome. And it also means that you got to rearrange everything. You re-inventory, you develop new types of storage. You can have more equipment. You have new tools. Can we take a tour?
Hell yeah, let's look around.
Awesome. So let's start over here. Looks like this wall, you have like your machine shop and your wood shop, right?
Well, everything is still kind of a work in progress. Like this isn't totally organized yet. This is going to be all flat storage for plywood and stuff like that, and be put into shelves like I had in the old shop, but bigger. And then I'm going to eventually get all my small material storage in here, and this will be kind of mechanical sort of area. So I'll have my soldering stuff here, and I'm going to do more animatronic stuff now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're building your storage alongside where you'll be using those materials. Mm-hmm. Like you have your foam storage I see up here.
Yeah, I wanted a big flat storage to put flat pieces of L200 and L300 as well as the stuff that we roll up. So.
Right. And then as we move along, you got a Bridgeport.
Just like Adam, I finally got my Bridgie.
Nice. Oh, it's beautiful. So
I still have to put my digital readout on.
Yep.
But I got a 4-axis digital readout. So I'm going to have a readout on the quill and a readout on the knee. So I could do the Z-axis on both.
Mm-hmm. And above that, the Rancor supervisor, shop supervisor, Rancor.
Someone's got to keep everybody in line.
Yeah, the Rancor didn't quite fit in your old shop. Kind of sat in that corner.
Yeah.
It seems like it needs a couple buddies over there. So
we'll have to build some more monsters.
Got to build some more monsters. Totally.
Yeah.
You got your bike here, which is actually in front of, this is where your lathe's going to
be? Yeah, I have a lathe on the floor there. I still need to get a stand for it and set the lathe all up. But
all right. And then we move into tables. Of course, these are the same tables you've had at your old shop.
This is the table from Rick Baker's old mold shop.
Mm-hmm. You got your storage on the side.
Yep.
You putting everything on wheels?
Yeah, everything's on wheels again, just like in the last shop. And then all the tools that we normally use for molds are all sitting right here on a pegboard.
It's such a massive volume of space. And one of the things I noticed first is you've wired everything. You have power through the ceilings, and more importantly, you have air too.
Yes. One of the first things I did when I moved in here was I plumbed in copper piping all the way around the shop so that I had air outlets everywhere. And then I also ran them above on the ceiling so that I could have drop downs in the middle of the shop, because there's nothing more annoying than dragging cords around and tripping on stuff. I want everything just right there.
Is this how shops for like big production studios are designed?
Well, a lot of the bigger shops have drop downs everywhere. It just makes more sense. That way you're not tripping on cords.
And
that's the easiest way to put power in the middle of a shop.
Right, and you love air tools. We talked about that last year, so this makes it easy not only to use these pipes to clean, but also to attach the tools, and you can just saw away.
Running all this hose and all this pipe adds another like 15 gallons to the volume of my air tank too.
Right, you're gonna get a new compressor?
I'm gonna get a new compressor. I'm gonna eventually put a spray booth in right here.
Okay.
That's a really big, expensive piece of equipment. But when I do that, I'm gonna put a big compressor right next to it. So that's on the list of new things I gotta get.
Now, because you're also, you're woodworking, you're working with metal here, you're working with all sorts of materials, what's ventilation like in this shop?
Luckily, this is like almost 3,000 square feet, and I got a giant bay door, and I got giant windows that I can open. So it flows okay right now, but I do need to put a spray booth in. It's just for safety, for everything. It's gotta have it.
Yeah. So let's move on. You got your classic, blue and yellow wall of smooth on.
Yeah. Every maker's gotta have one.
Oh, it's amazing. So how much of this is just remnants for your old shop? How much new stuff are you building?
Really, the only new thing that we built was the mezzanine and then the storage shelves above the Bridgeport.
Mm-hmm. And the goal isn't to fill this, to pack this with tables and benches.
I'm probably going to build 2 more tables in here to go right over here.
But having an open space actually is useful for you?
Yeah, well, a buddy of mine's going to come in and build some flats for a stop motion project. So he's going to come in, he can roll in and build a bunch of flats.
You could have mannequins lined up if you're doing costumes.
I have to do a project later on this month where I have to put new heads on about 20 different mannequins. So we're just going to bring them all in here.
Awesome. Let's head under this mezzanine. Now, you said this whole mezzanine here is custom built.
Yeah, right? me and my buddy Nick Bonamy built this, and then I had anybody that could swing a hammer come over and help us nail all this stuff together.
And even this flooring's custom.
Yeah, well, I wanted to have a messier side of the shop and then a clean side. So when we do like foam fabricating or, you know, like costume work, this is a cleaner side of the shop. So we won't be pouring molds over here.
Right, and then also you have a pool table?
Pool table was in the old shop, but that was always a work table. So now I have more room, so we've actually been playing a little bit more.
Wow, how are you organizing these shelves?
This is still, again, like kind of a work in progress, trying to figure out where things are going. Like I have a big shelf here with all my personal projects and displays I want to finish up, where before they were like in different corners of the shop. Now I look at that and I go, I got to get to that. I got to get to that. And then, you know, materials that I use more regularly are going to be stored down here, where things that I don't use as often are going to be upstairs in the deeper storage.
Something new also I've spotted, you have now a laser.
Got my big laser.
Ooh, your new baby.
Yeah, this is cool. Like I've always wanted to get a laser. I'm always coveting everybody else that has a laser. So I got a big universal laser, and with this I put in a ventilation system and all the important things you need. I got a fire extinguisher real close. I got a carbon monoxide detector right there. We're gonna build some cool things with this coming up.
Yeah, with the laser you need to put in ventilation. So do the requirements and the materials you're working with, does that inform where you put your tools?
Well, I wanted to have this close to my computer. My desk is on the other side of this wall, so I just drilled a hole there, ran the cable so I could run, you know, all the software straight from here. If you put the ventilation in correctly, you can put the laser kind of anywhere.
Yeah.
But it just made more sense to put it on the clean side of the shop and closer to the computers.
Very cool. And then, of course, let's head upstairs to the top of the mezzanine. So up here, more storage. And I know, like, molds are your thing, right? So you're known for, you've made a ton of molds over your career. It's also something that takes a ton of storage.
Yeah, well, some of these molds I end up using more regularly. Like, there's, like, core molds for Immortal and for Black Box masks. And I got some like decapitated heads. I just did a horror movie that's shooting in Mexico right now. Made a bunch of heads out of molds that I had existing. So things that I use a little bit more regular are going to be stored over here. And then back there is going to be the stuff I use less regularly.
As a mold maker, do you keep every mold you make? No?
I get rid of a lot. If it's an important thing or something that I think is going to have some sort of a value or reusability, I'll keep it. But if it's like a one-off of something that...
One project you did, you're not sentimental about that?
Not really. It's so expensive to store those things, and the long run, it's just not worth it. Like I just molded a whole bunch of bones for a TV show. Like once I run all these things, I'm gonna get rid of it, because if I needed to mold another little bone, I can go buy that for a couple dollars and make another mold.
Right.
But to store, you know, a big box of molds for the next 20 years until I need bones again, it's just taking up room.
Wow, and it is a massive space. So where do you go from here? What's the next step up after a shop this size?
I hope that I'm here for a couple of years, and if I do end up needing to get a bigger shop, I want to buy a building.
Wow.
I think it would be silly for me to put this kind of infrastructure into another rental. So if I do grow enough that I need something bigger, I'm going to buy.
Awesome. Let's head back downstairs. This is truly amazing. I think you're going to have a lot of fun here. We can't wait. It makes me want to visit more often.
We're going to build more big projects.
We're going to build more big projects. And also, of course, this is where we'll be filming Shop Tips, the new series we have on the show. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Frank, for inviting us to your new shop. And if you have questions about building up your shop, I'm sure Frank will be more than happy to answer them in the comment sections below. Until then, Frank and I will see you next time.